George Washington shave today on Barber Dave Shaves and Such, and episode 3 of the Crosby Conundrum. We'll be right back. Hey everybody, welcome to Monday. I am so sorry about Sunday's shave. It turned out to be vehicle maintenance day and things got crazy. So, in the essence of spirit of the shave, Steve Crosby, the crazy person that gives me these wonderful ideas, came up with George Washington, and I thought that he had stumped me, but I'll let you be the judge. So what are we shaving with today? Well, let's talk about George Washington. George Washington was born in Virginia, and then later moved to famous Mount Vernon. Obviously the father of our country. And he was about 20 years old when the Revolutionary War was started. So I'm going to post a picture right here of his actual shave set. Now, unfortunately, I do have a bench hone that I used. However, I don't have a straight Camisori style 1700s razor. So what we're going to use instead is we're going to use a razor that was built and made in Bradford, Pennsylvania, which I guess is about 2 or 3 hours away from Mount Vernon. And that's right, that's the Easy Aces. So, yeah, okay, just pretend that the handle's not here. But it is from Pennsylvania, famously Mount Vernon. For the soap today, there is the famous thing that George Washington cut down a cherry tree. Guess what? Didn't happen. It was all myth. However, everybody thinks that it's there. So we are going to use a soap that you wouldn't think I'd use, and it's called flack bait. Now, why is it flack bait? Well, let's argue. Okay, let's just for shits and giggles, let's argue the point that there's no flack during the Revolutionary War. Ha-ha, wrong. Let's say a cannonball hit another cannon and metal flaked off of that. Flack. But basically what this is cherry, rum, and smoke. So a lot of the grog of the day was probably rum brought up from the West Indies, and I'm sure people drank that. And then as far as smoke is concerned, if you remember correctly in your history classes, George Washington was very famously a tobacco farmer. So there you go. And he smoked usually a long Churchill pipe. So that's what we're using for our soap today. The brush, keeping with the cherry tree theme, we've got wood. Okay, granted, this is olive wood, but just pretend in your imagination that this is cherry wood. I don't have a brush that's got cherry wood. Just deal with it. And then we'll get into all the other stuff that makes this a George Washington shave. Very unique. I thought he had stumped me on this one, but it took... I think I figured something. I think hopefully this will pass. Plus, hey, I'm wearing the Spirit of the Shave shirt. You don't get much rum out of this soap at all. And this is, by the way, made by Victory Shaving Company, which is no longer around. Dale was a wonderful, wonderful soap maker. And I think he's still around. Every once in a while you see him. A vegan soap that lathers as good, if not better, than a tallow-based soap. After you've got the soap on your face, you get a little bit of the rum, and you get kind of a subtle smoke hint, tobacco leaf, and almost like I want to say almost like a gunpowder smoke, but it's really, really nice. Let's say it's the gunpowder from a musket. And sorry I didn't have a powdered wig, but I do have powder. I do have talc, and we'll see how that goes. So again, the George Washington theme was a little tough. I mean, it realized when you have this much stuff, it's still pretty hard to put certain things together. This razor has been honed 30 on linen, 60 on leather, and then taken another 40 on a convex bench strap. The original honing on this was done via diluart or dilucot, so a dilution on a cauticule, and then on a diluarc, so a dilution on a black Arkansas. No, I take that back. This one was done on a translucent. A translucent Arkansas. And then updated on a black Arkansas. And just a wonderful, wonderful cherry scent. I did not shave yesterday, so I was hobo-esque. So the last time I shaved was early Saturday morning. So I've got about 2.5 days of growth. First pass went very well. You get a little bit more of the smoke once you rinse, but it's still primarily very, very strong cherry. It's actually a black cherry, so it's even more pungent. With the rum and smoke, you could argue, I guess, that it very much smells like Dr. Pepper, but only better. Although I have a lot of razors in the 6/8, 5/8 sizes, I do find that to me, the 5/8 is just a fun, easy razor to use. Very easy to maneuver. Don't have to think too much about it unless you take the edge of the point and slam it up against your finger. But no blood yet. And that's a good learning tip. Even when you're not shaving a part of your face, always know where that blade is. As we call it, situational awareness. Know exactly where everything is in a 360-degree world, because, like I said, I wasn't anywhere near my face and I almost cut my finger. Because this is not a muted point. So that was just plain stupid. And that's what happens. You get so used to a razor and so used to straight razor shaving after I'm honing in on 6,000 straight razor shaves, you become complacent. Don't do that. And yes, today is Barber Errand Day, as they say. Well, I could probably quit right now and have a beautiful BBS shave, but what's the fun in that? Besides, I got all this lather left over. Now, I will admit that when we get to the aftershave and the fragrance, I think I'm grabbing for stuff to complete this George Washington Crosby Conundrum shave. But we'll see. Because I'm going to let you guys be the judge. So in the comments, please tell me, did I capture the essence of George Washington in the shave, or did I bomb miserably? And this shirt, by the way, this Spirit of the Shave shirt, was a contest that I won. Glenda from Glenda the Good Witch, who was a former artisan retailer of ours here on the Cadre. And speaking of that, if you like what you see here, come and join us, www.theshavingcadre.com. We feel that we are the finest gentlemanly shaving forum and other pursuits forum on the interweb, free of charge, self-policing, no forum moderators, no hammer of the man or anything like that. Just follow the rules and everything will be cool. Also, don't forget, Tuesday nights, 6 p.m. Pacific, Mountain Standard Time, Drinks and Daves. Don't know what the subject's going to be this week. We'll figure it out sometime today, but come and join us. We have a lot of fun. I almost forgot where I was at. Somebody had mentioned whether when I'm doing my against the grain, which for me, this is actually my across the grain. If I do a scything action, and you can see it if you look where the soap lather starts is where it finished. Yes, I do. I scythe on almost every path. I mean, there's obviously some areas that you can't do very well that way, but I have noticed with Steve, these are getting progressively harder, which I knew was going to happen. Also, we got 2 shaves left in the conundrum. And if you want this to continue, also put that in the comments. Because we might as well put this Steve to work, because he doesn't do much anyway. But he does come up with some good themes. Perfect. A little bit of cleanup, as always. Also, since I did my flat blading tutorial, are any of you that are straight razor shaving using the flat blading technique upon cleanup? And if so, if you like it or not. I equate flat blading a lot to the convex honing. I'm sure certain places and certain forums, there would be people on there with saying, "You're crazy, that'll dull the blade, you shouldn't flat blade." Horse pucky. Just like when people talk about convex honing. It's been around longer than anything else, and I can tell you it works, period. I'm slowly but surely transitioning everything I have. Okay, great shave today. So the one thing we forgot about is the winter. The winter that George Washington and his people suffered through. Now, this is where things start to get a little bit sketchy. Ice from the Potomac River. Okay, not really, it's alum, but it looks like a chunk of ice because I dropped it and it broke. That's my story. I'm sticking to it, like it or not. Let that cool down for a while. We'll clean up everything and go over everything we went through again. So the brush today was a brush that means a lot to a lot of people here. It was a limited edition brush that we did in conjunction with Sepulveda Varacino. However, for those of you that have Sepulveda Varacino brushes, look at the top. Yes, that's right. It says the Shaving Cadre, and it's got a High Mountain Manchurian white batter and cherry wood. Okay, it's not cherry wood, it's olive, but remember, we're pretending today. That's cherry wood. Just a wonderful, wonderful brush. We had some issues with it in the beginning. There was some quality control issues, but we got those fixed for the most part. Okay, for thinking on what to use for a witch hazel, one of the major aftershaves or body things that was around in the 1700s, because there wasn't a lot of baths going on, was basically scented water, and that would be lavender. So I can assume, although I don't know this for sure, that George probably used lavender water, or maybe even rose water. So we'll let that soak in for a second. So again, flack from a cannonball, flack bait, cherry, rum, which grog, we'll call it grog, cherry, grog, and smoke. So I think that fits the bill. For the razor today, or I should say the rapier today, was the Genco 5/8 Easy Aces, which was from Bradford, Pennsylvania, which was only about, I think, 3 hours or so from Valley Forge, the estate of George Washington. So I said earlier, now this one may work. The fragrance is going to be a stretch, but it's what I had. Okay, so we know that George Washington was a tobacco farmer. Now, the tobacco leaf has a tobacco flower and a tobacco leaf, and there is no better fragrance for tobacco in the far as the tobacco leaf, not smoke or anything, but tobacco. Then you know what? Yeah, tobacco. That's right. It's got a nice tobacco type fragrance to it, meaning the tobacco leaf and flower. Plus, I guess you could argue that it could smell like Betsy Ross's bloomers. Who knows? Okay, here's where things... Oh, wait a minute. So I did not wear a talc wig. Okay, but we know that most of the colonial area guys wore a what I call a barrister wig, with talc. That's how they kept it white. So I'm using talc. And just for the purposes of this shave, I'll put it in my hair. Because even at close to 60, look at that, hardly any gray hair. It's called living good, guys. And it's partially because shaving the traditional way. Okay, well, we also know that George Washington was a Mason. Now, the only type of, I don't have any type of Masonic secret foo-foo fragrances, but when grabbing for one, and even Avocado Queen, my wife, she's like, that's kind of thin. But if you want a Gothic, cement, and cement is by Masons. Masons built these churches and everything else. Elixir. It does smell very Gothic. It's kind of odd to wear it in the summer. But for my fans and for Mr. Conundrum, I will do that. But it does have, believe it or not, it does have a very Gothic cement, and you could, it would be like if you were to walk into the National Cathedral in Washington. It's got that smell of church and of faith, and we all know that George Washington was a very faith-driven man. Anyways, that's it. The George Washington shave on the Crosby Conundrum today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. And let me know in the comments whether I nailed it or whether it was so off base. It's unbelievable. Going to try to do another shave tomorrow. I'm Barber Dave. This has been Barber Dave Shaves and Such. And I hope everybody has a wonderful, wonderful Monday. Take care.